Nityanandam, Jnanapatati Manual, under the guidance of Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagadguru Mahasannidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagavan Nityananda Paramashivam. Let's start with the Sadguru Vandanam. Nityanandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gaganasadasham Tattvamasya Lakshmyam Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Let's go through the disclaimers. Security measures. No photography, video, audio recording. Important cautions. Please be aware of the important cautions. What is spa manifestation? Let's hear from Bhagavan himself explaining what is spa manifestation.
All the 25 states of consciousness, when they happen in you, due to your chemicals and hormones ups and downs, it is powerlessness. When it happens in you, out of your free will and consciousness, it is powerfulness. That's all. When you fall into sleep, it is powerlessness. When you enter into sleep, it is powerfulness. When you fall into dream, it is powerlessness. When you decide to dream, it is powerfulness. So I have added the ultimate powerfulness, Turyatita, in your whole being and doing, manifest all the powers. Understand, power manifestation is nothing but cognitive shift. It is not work. It is cognitive shift. Understand? It is just cognitive shift. It's not work. Work is a 4-letter word. Power manifestation is cognitive shift. Playing life. Playing with being alive.
Beautifully, Bhagavan explained what is spa manifestation and becoming alive, becoming the kalpatru of your life. And science of spa manifestation is authentic, time-tested, scientific, and foolproof. The pramanas gives us the cognitive shift from where we exist as self-doubt, self-denial, self-hatred, and beyond that, the space of Paramashiva as our superconscious space. And the pramanas gives us the shift just by listening to the pramanas. Shastra Pramana, the authentic scripture, Shrutis, the Vedagmas, stands as a foundation for Hinduism. Apta Pramana, the authentic time-tested foolproof compilation of the experience of the rishis, sages and enlightened masters, which is in terms with the Shastra Pramana. Atma Pramana, with Apta Pramana, a guru is able to experience and live the truth claimed by the Shastras. Shakshi Pramana, manifestation and experience of the guru's initiation in the disciple of a particular lineage, which is demonstrated to the world. Pratyaksha Pramana, the scientific study measuring the effect of being in the enlightened state. Bhagavan Paramashiva has beautifully given us the pramanas for us to understand the deeper science that we can experience oneness with Paramashiva and manifest as powers. Let's go to the Shastra Pramana. The Shastra Pramana, eternal, unchangeable truth revealed in the source scriptures as Vedagamas. Here, for the power of Sarvajñatva, all knowingness, is taken from Sarvajñatva Agama, verse 15. All knowing in its all is fullness.
Memory is taken from the Sarvojñanottara Agama, verse 15. Evamekatmabhavena samstitasya tu yoginaha sarvajñatvam pravarteta vikalparahitasya tu. Evamekatmabhavena samstitasya tu yoginaha sarvajñatvam pravarteta विकल्परहितस्य तु
Bhagavan Parameshwara beautifully says, within such a yogi who established himself in absolute non dual oneness with Lord Shiva and who keeps himself from all sorts of differentiating notions, the exalted supreme power of all knowing Sarvanyatvam gets unfolded in all its fullness. Bhagavan Paramashiva has beautifully given us all the initiation, blessing, powerful cognition for us to experience the greater reality, who we are, the consciousness. And Bhagavan has beautifully said, each of us is like a hologram of the universe, and we are the app of the universe. And each cell itself is a hologram, and it has all the knowledge that it is accumulated from where we were a fish or a bacteria to what we are now. All the data and all the history and all the details are there in our very own DNA, and the molecular structures that we can tap our intelligence into and download everything. Now, science is also catching up to give us this great information. Bhagavan has beautifully said how he downloaded when somebody asked him in Arunachala, his own friend asked him who is the main deity of a temple which he has never visited. And nobody knows that main deity because always it is said as Muruga deity, and only a Muruga deity is said to be seen in the front. But he just closed his eyes for a minute and he knew that it is Ardhanarishwara temple. And it was a shock to the friend because he knows that nobody knows that details. He simply said, if I put something in my third eye temple and third eye, this point, the point which matches is a download point, and it simply downloads all the information. And beautifully, all this science was available to the humanity. And now Bhagavan is initiating us to this greater science that simply download is possible. Not just the five senses, but where we are, Paramashiva simply shows us all this greater science as reality. If you have a Krishna Shila, that is the Paramashiva Shivala, the granite slab, and if you have the Jnananjan, which was energized, you can use that. Or you can use a simple mirror or banyan leaf or kashaya vastra, that is kavi vastra, the kavi cloth. You can use, or any yantra that you have, you can apply the Jnananjan and you can see whatever you want to see in that. That was much more than a television or a cell phone for those days when Meenakshi used to use that to communicate with all her disciples and devotees, how we use the electronic structure. Bhagavan Paramashiva beautifully says how we understand that four powers, the gravitational force, electromagnetic force, the weak nuclear force, and the strong nuclear force, is nothing but the simple laziness, which is the gravitational force, and the electromagnetic force, which is nothing but the self-doubt. All these forces, and then the weak and the strong nuclear force, self-denial and self-hatred. Beyond all these lower forces, we have consciousness, Paramashiva, who is initiating us into the higher and higher frequency and taking us to the higher experiences to make us understand how the existential reality actually functions. When we are able to unclutch from all this differentiating notions, that is the weak nuclear force of all this is weak force when compared to the consciousness, Paramashiva. When you know that all this which is happening in your life is nothing but the ups and downs, which is just playing the Leela. It is not touching you in any way because when you're in deep sleep, even the worst day, you are having a good sleep. Nothing disturbs you. When you wake up, you know that you were beyond all this problem. All that again and again tells us that Paramashiva is real. When we are surrendered to the Bhagavan's lotus feet, our Guru, everything becomes auspiciousness. No graha touches us. Bhagavan beautifully says, when Guru is there, you don't have to worry about any graha because simply Guru will lift you to more and more higher frequency and higher consciousness. Just surrendering to your Guru, all that differentiating notions that you are experiencing simply makes you experience the physical reality, the prasada that Bhagavan has given each one of us as reality. All this greater science is real, and each one of us to experience is what Bhagavan is giving us all this initiation for us to experience the abundance and the greater truth. Valmiki, one of the greatest happening on planet Earth that we all experienced. Valmiki was a criminal. He was literally doing all the bad things, like Bhagavan said, Sukha, Charya, just blesses anybody like that. Valmiki was doing everything horrible. And Narada Muni goes to him and says, can you go and find out in your house if all the bad things that you do, they are enjoying all the best part, will they enjoy this bad part also, take part in your bad part? Simply he goes and asks, they all refuse. And so he comes running to Narada Muni and says, what should I do? Nobody is ready to take my sins, part in my sins, nor my son, nor my father, nor my parents, nobody, and nor my wife. And simply Narada Muni gives him the Guruvak, the Mahavakya, in a not even the Rama as initiation. He initiates him to Mara, Mara, Mara. He did not question. Valmiki did not say, oh, you don't know how to initiate, you're giving me a wrong way of initiation, nothing. He simply surrendered to him. He sat and continued whatever he said as a simple integrity to Guru. And when he continued to have the space of just chanting, the ant hill grew on him and he broke open and came from the ant hill. The ant hill means Valmiki. And when he was sitting in one day in his ashram, beautifully seeing such a beautiful scene of, there is absolutely a beautiful scene of everything in joy and harmony. The two birds which were sitting there was such a happy family bird, but one hunter just killed one of them and he saw the suffering in the other bird. The minute he saw that, immediately from somewhere he saw a bright versions of the slokas and he just chanted and he just cursed and he was so shocked that he saw the mantras. And then Brahma saw this and he came down and said, okay, now you are ready, you can write Ramayana. And he blessed him, and then we have the whole epic for us. All of us experience that greater science. And Rama is said to come down and enact the whole Ramayana as written by Valmiki. This is from the source Valmiki Ramayan book, Balakanda, chapter 3, verse 2 through 6. All this greater science again and again shows us how you are dedicated to the Guru and surrender everything at Guru's lotus feet and hold Guru's feet at any cost. Simply you are liberated at the end of the whole thing. You are in the oneness with Paramashiva. You become the Parama Advaita space with Paramashiva. Now Bhagavan gives the powerful cognition on the deeper science of oneness with Paramashiva,
which tries to include and conclude. Thought tries to conclude, feeling tries to include. As long as these movements are happening in you, what you perceive inside you and outside you is Jagat, changing. When this thought and emotion, which tries to include and conclude, merges, and that Shanti, silence prevails, you will understand whatever you perceived as Jagat also is nothing but Isha. I can say the whole Sanatana Hindu Dharma starts and ends in this first line. The logic which goes on tries to conclude, an emotion which goes on tries to include. This both, when they are moving, when they have not completed with each other, when there is an incompletion, only when there is an incompletion there will be movement. When there is completion, no movement, pure silence. When there is a movement, listen, When there is a movement, you will perceive yourself inside you, outside you. Whatever you feel as mamakara, as ahankara, anyakara, swanyakara, all these will be changing. Jagat. Listen. Even when something is changing, it is Isha. Even when you think, when you perceive, it is changing, it is Isha. When you reach the silence of you, when inside there is no movement, there is no incompletions, there is only completion, you will perceive you inside, outside as Isha. Understand? When there is a change in you in the form of thinking or feeling, what you perceive and what you perceive inside and outside is called Jagat, universe, which is changing. And when you are in the space of completion, peacefulness, then what you perceive as you and everything else is God. Here, the Upanishadic rishis are declaring, Upanishads are declaring, I should not even use the word Upanishadic rishis are declaring, no, Upanishads are declaring. Dharma declares its authority by itself is Upanishads, without the help of any author or the authority of any author. Author not only brings authenticity, he brings authority also. Here, Dharma does not need authenticity or authority from anyone else. The person who lends authenticity naturally lends authority also. When he lends authenticity, he has authority. Upanishads does not need anybody to authenticate it. So nobody has authority over it. That is why Apaurusha, no author. It is declaring its own grandeur and beauty by its own existence. Please understand. Now what I am revealing is layer by layer Akashic records about this one verse. Om. If I have to expand on this. Om. The sound of whatever is. The vibration of whatever is still vibrating. Vibration of whatever is still vibrant. Om.
Beautifully, Bhagavan raises us to the vibration and makes us experience the vibration. When we drop all the differentiating notions, we can raise ourselves into such a beautiful space. Here, Shakshi Pramana, Amma, she has explained how she downloaded the slokas and beautifully what appeared for her, and she has experienced. Today, what we are going to do is if you have a partner, that will be wonderful. What we are going to do is download a sloka. For any of the deities, you can download a sloka or your partner gives a sloka, for example, Shiva Gayatri Mantra. So you can download that, and from the Krishna Shila, Paramashiva Shila, which is a granite slab, you can use applying the Jnananjan. You can apply your Jnananjan in your third eye and your temple and on the Paramashiva Shila, which is a granite slab, or you can use a mirror or the yantra or Kashaya Vastra, any of this, that is fine. You can use that, and you can see in that whatever appears, you can write down. And when you write down, you can verify with your partner or with a Google for the deity that you're writing down. And you can authentically take a picture of that and verify, and then take a picture of that and you can share at the end of the session. Beautifully, Bhagwan is giving us all this greater science for us to understand all these downloads simply is possible. The all the scriptures are already in tune with all the higher frequency. All that we need to do is just have the oneness with Paramashiva and manifest as powers.
Power manifestation.
Now, let's sit straight. Once you have decided what are the things that you wanted, just write down the whole thing and put away everything. Take a picture of that and put away everything. Now, sit straight with the head, neck, and spine in a straight line. Bring the listening to your third eye, the deep feeling connection with Paramashiva, the deep listening to Paramashiva. All this greater science that Bhagavan is initiating us to experience the ultimate reality. Paramashiva is real. Consciousness is real. More and more we align everything that we do as Paramashiva is real. We experience more and more oneness with Paramashiva. Absolute unclutching from whatever we know as the ups and downs, the differentiating notions, and surrender to Bhagavan's lotus feet. Every single thing, when you surrender to Bhagavan's lotus feet, you raise in the space of oneness with Paramashiva. Again and again, drop everything at Bhagavan's lotus feet and experience the oneness with Paramashiva. That is the Tyaga. And Tyaga is not something you give up from the outside, but give up all your differentiating notion. Don't engage yourself in that. Unclutch from that completely. Experience the ultimate. Paramashiva is real. Consciousness is real. When we are with a guru, nothing touches us, nothing matters to us, because he is always protecting us and taking care of us, raising us and guiding us every single day and giving us the Guru Vak to follow each and every day to experience the oneness with Paramashiva. All that we need to do is chant the Mahavakya, unclutch and entangle with Bhagavan in oneness space, and chant the Mahavakya intensely to experience Paramashiva as our reality. Again and again, when we chant the Mahavakya, the mantras raises the frequency of us, and we are in the quantum space entangling with Bhagavan. And simply you will start seeing the mantras. Whenever you see the mantra, simply Bhagavan says, Rishi, you are a Rishi. Only Rishis can see it, not just hear it, but they are able to see it. That is why all Maharishi, the Valmiki who wrote down, Vyasa, who wrote down all this greatest epic, because they were able to see the mantra as a scene, and they just, whatever they saw, they just wrote it down. And so many Balasans who just got initiated into all these greater science were able to download. Many times we have done this, and they are able to download simple Sanskrit. They have no idea what it is, but they can simply download the page. If you give the page number, they can write the first sentence, the last sentence, and the most occurring words. All that they were able to see very beautifully and clearly. That is the mantra which just appears in front of you, and you can write down, and whatever appears you can verify at the end of the session. Now let's entangle with Bhagavan, go into the Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Bhagavan has initiated us into the greater science of oneness with Paramashiva, Paramadvaita as the most beautiful space. Hold that again and again. Surrender everything to Bhagavan's lotus feet. Whether good or bad, Paramashiva is real. All that you need to do is surrender everything as Bhagavan lotus feet. Merge yourself into the oneness space with Paramashiva. Disappear into Paramashiva. In deep gratitude and deep love, you will start experiencing Paramashiva as your reality. Now let's start chanting the Mahavakya intensely to download the slokas and write it down. At the end of the session, we'll verify. Now sit straight and chant the Mahavakya intensely with a deep listening.
Ananda Paramashivam Om Nityananda
Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. 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 Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. 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 नित्यानन्द परमशिवोऽहम् ॐ 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 नित्यानन्द परमशिवोऽहम् Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up. Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. Let Paramashiva's third eye manifest in all our third eyes. Let the Amrita pour, let the Varni open up, manifest in all of us. Let Paramashiva overflow, manifest the powers in all our third eyes. Om Nityananda Paramashivoham. 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 Om Nityananda Paramashivoham.
Beautiful. Whatever you have experienced, please go ahead and share it in tinyurl.com/power manifestation, or in your social media. You can make an album and you can share it with the hashtag Paramashimoham Shakshi Pramana and with other hashtags of Power Manifestation, Third Eye Powers, Kailasha, and Nityananda. All this with you, whatever you have experienced in the initiation, in the darshan, in the Kailash Kotyar, the power manifestation itself, authentically verify if the slokas exist and the slokas, the words that you saw as the mantra itself, the mantra drishta, you saw the mantra, and whatever you have written down, verify with your partner or with the Google authentically, and then share all this greater truth with the world. Sharing is perfectly important as much as power manifestation. Extreme causing is extreme manifestation, and extreme manifestation is extreme causing. Again and again, Bhagavan asks us all to share. Is not because of social media work, but actually we go on sharing all this. When we go down, we can read all this and it pulls us up again and again. So that is why you go ahead and share all this greater truth. You will be in such a beautiful space to hold all this greater truth as your reality when things are not fine. Now, if you see the dollar sign at the end of the YouTube chat, you can offer your donation. Whenever you offer your donation to Kailasha, you are building Kailasha in your inner space. Bhagavan gives us the simple things to manifest the greatest reality of Paramashiva is real. So go ahead, offer your gratitude and contribution to the world. The more and more we enrich and cause for anything that we become that, more and more we start manifesting the powers of Paramashiva and sharing with the world, we will start getting grounded that all this is more real than what we are experiencing in the outer world. Let's surrender all this at Bhagwan's lotus feet, powerful cognition, power manifestation, at Bhagwan's lotus feet in deep gratitude and thanking Bhagwan and thanking all of you in all the social media manifesting the powers of Paramashiva, every day doing the Jnanapada, Kailash Kotiyar manifesting power that Bhagwan has given in simple integrity and simple obedience, such a beautiful space of oneness. With that, let's have a deep earning. Paramashiva is real in thought, word, and action, and seeing everything, everyone as Paramashiva as a reality again and again, holding this powerful space throughout the day and ending the session with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudashyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavate Sri Nityanda Paramashivam Padukarpanamastu Om Nityanandam. Thank you so much. The next session will be at 6 p.m. IST. You can join in through Zoom for more Kailash Kotiyar manifesting past session. Thank you, Nityanandam.